There's three real bangers that we're going to cover today that I want to share with you. The first question is, how do I find time to train my team when I already feel like I'm stretched really, really thin? So saying I don't have time to train my team is a bit like saying I'm too busy to stop and fill up my car with fuel. You'll get away with it for a while, but then everything eventually is going to come grinding to a halt. In terms of a mind shift for you here, just as you feel deeply responsible to guide your practice members' health, as the CEO of the practice, it's your responsibility to guide the health of the business. So whether that's a proprietary limited or whatever structure is set up, that's your patient, that's your practice member. Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, folks. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast, the podcast where I have the pleasure of simplifying the marketing and the mindset so you, the chiropractor, can increase your income, your impact, and your enjoyment in practice too. I'm pretty damn happy to be back in my home studio now after 10 weeks on the road with the wonderful Lauren and Sunny. Finished off very eventfully with a wheel literally falling off our caravan. Which was pretty wild, but nobody was hurt. And thank God for insurance as well. So we're going to jump back in today with another frequently asked question. I had a bunch of them after we went our way through the 7-figure lifestyle practice triangle as well. And there's three real bangers that we're going to cover today that I want to share with you. The first question is this one here. How do I find time to train my team when I already feel like I'm stretched really, really thin? I got several different versions of this question, and I'm often asked this as well. These are chiropractors that want better performance, but don't feel like they have the time to slow down, okay? If you're thinking to yourself, it's better that I do it rather than train somebody else, then you've probably felt this way. Now, the answer to this question might not be one that you want to hear, but let's be honest. There's no hack, there's no quick fix in this. What there is a shift in mindset, okay? So saying I don't have time to train my team is a bit like saying I'm too busy to stop and fill up my car with fuel. You'll get away with it for a while, but then everything eventually is going to come grinding to a halt. The truth is, the reason you're so time poor right now is because you haven't invested time in training and delegation, okay? The busier you've become, the more urgent the need for this becomes for you as well. Now, there are several steps I want to take you through that'll help you solve this problem once and for all. Step number one is that you need to begin to identify what are the bottlenecks that are stealing your time. Where is it all going? What tasks or problems do you feel like you're constantly circling back to? Or where are you micromanaging? Where are you fixing things over again and again and again? So let's say, for example, that the front desk continues to forget to pass on the contact number of new patients after they've had a first adjustment. So hopefully most of you listening to this, after a new practice member has had an adjustment, you actually reach out to them and give them a phone call to check in, okay? So this is a red flag. If it continues to happen again and again, there's a missing system or there's a missed training opportunity through here as well. So once we've identified that, step number two, what we want to do is we want to create a really simple SOP, and SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure. Now, this is not some big corporate binder that we need to put together. I like a really clear, simple 3-part process: trigger, steps, and outcome. So trigger is what starts. So as we're going through and looking at our procedures manual and all the standard operating procedures, they should be broken down into these 3 components. What's the trigger that starts it? What are the steps that need to be done? And then what is the outcome? What does done right look like? Now, often when I'm encouraging community influencer members to go through this is begin sometimes with the outcome. What is the outcome? In this situation, the outcome that we want is the telephone number given to the chiropractor. Now, do you want it texted to you in an SMS and an email? Do you want it on a sticky note handed to you? Now, in my practice, I wanted this just given to me on a Post-it note as I was walking out the door of these are the numbers and the names of the patients that you need to contact after today, okay? That was the outcome, and then we could reverse our way through it. So an example SOP might look like this. The trigger is the patient has their first adjustment. Now, whether that be on day 1 or day 2, day 3, however your systems are there as well. The steps are let the patient know, hey, expect a call from the doctor this evening. She'll be calling from a new number just to see how things are improving after your adjustment. So please keep an eye out for that, okay? Step number 2, locate the patient's number, their preferred contact number. Step number 3, forward that number to the chiropractor via the agreed method that we talked about before. Now, the outcome of this is that the chiropractor receives the contact number on the same day and can complete the follow-up call within 24 hours. So this is a really simple standard operating procedures. Now, again, so remember, step 1, we worked out where am I having these problems over again and again and again. And then step 2, what I'm going to do is go through and work out this trigger, and then the steps, and then what are the outcomes. Now, you can work your way through the most significant standard operating procedures in your practice. Honestly, if you set a weekend aside, you could probably knock everything over. It's not that complicated. Now, after you've done this, the next thing you need to do is train it in a team meeting. So that's step 3. This is not a one-off announcement, okay? Train it like it matters. Now, interestingly, what I'm seeing is in the busier, in the more high impact, in the more high income, and those practices that have more freedom, they do more training, not less, okay? Because it matters. So your team meetings need to be regularly, and I would suggest at least somewhere between twice a month and maybe weekly. Okay, they should be short. 30 minutes is what they need to be most times. Okay, now probably once a quarter, maybe twice a quarter, you want to have a longer team training. But if you can get in there and know exactly what you need to train on and you're organized and you stick to the timetable, 30 minutes should be plenty. That means they need to be focused. One big priority per meeting. So again, in this situation, we've been missing out on the phone calls after the first adjustment. Here's what the standard operating procedure is. Let's run through that. Let's test that. Let's role play that. And done. I mean, that's a team meeting there that shouldn't take any more than 30 minutes, okay? So an example team meeting structure might start off with a quick win celebrations. It's lovely to start a meeting with the whole team sharing what's working really great. Then there's the training, that's 15 to 20 minutes. Clarify the next action, that's 5 minutes. And then closing thoughts or questions, that's 2 minutes. So that's what your 30-minute meeting would look like as well, okay? Now, as a bit of a pro tip, don't overload meetings, okay? Your job is clarity, not complexity. You might identify that there are a number of standard operating procedures that need to be corrected, in which case, great, you've identified this. Then in the coming weeks, once per week, you'll train on a new one of these, okay? So after we've done this, the next step and the final step really here is we need to monitor it. Okay, sometimes we put a standard operating procedure in place. We think it's going to work great, but it doesn't. This happens often. Okay, so track the results. Did the performance review improve? And if it didn't, why not? And then how do you go about refining it? Okay, spot the problem, systemize it, train it, test it, improve it. And each time you go through the loop, you're buying yourself more time. You'll be reducing your stress. You'll be building a team that performs without needing constant supervision, okay? So here's the final thought on this. You cannot grow a practice past the level of your systems or the skill of your team. If you want freedom, if you want enjoyment, if you want impact, if you want income, if you want the ability to be able to invest back into a practice that is self-managing, you need to make all of these a priority. So start now. One standard operating procedure, one 30-minute meeting, and one bottleneck at a time. Do this between now and Christmas, and you'll be living and working in a very, very different practice as well, okay? All right, let's move on to our next question. Our next question is, what should I be saying during the adjustment visit to drive better outcomes and retention, okay? The adjustment visit is one that I've been training on in great depth with Community Influencer this year, and it's the visit that is the most frequent touch point in our practice. And yet still for most of us as chiropractors, it's the most underdeveloped. We don't spend time rehearsing and practicing. We don't have standard operating procedures around this. We don't have a system for how we go about this from the front desk check-in all the way to the front desk checkout. Now, every adjustment visit is actually made up of 3 parts. All right, I touched on those before. There's the CA greeting when they come in the front door. There's the adjustment, and then there's the CA checkout. So all 3 of those components are essential if we want to maximize the outcomes and the retention. We need mastery of all of these. So your front desk needs to know that they are playing a role in the healing process. Now, in today, I want to concentrate particularly on part 2, which is the adjustment itself. Now, again, let's give some background context through here. I've been a bit obsessed recently with a guy by the name of Ian McGilchrist, neuroscientist, psychiatrist as well. He's done a tremendous amount of work on the left and right hemispheres, okay? Now, the right hemisphere of the brain is where presence, connection, intuition, and big awareness live. The left hemisphere is more about analysis, procedure, and breaking things down. Now, both are useful. It's not just as simple as saying, left this, right that too. It's much more complex as well. But when we think about what's often referred to from Parker principles of present time consciousness, that's very much a right brain function, okay? Now, we need them both in the adjustment. But if we're only running in this left brain mode, running through steps, thinking about analysis, thinking about the next patient, what ends up happening is you lose the depth of connection and the adaptability that creates a truly transformative process. And if we want to improve our outcomes and our retention, then we want as many of our adjustments as possible to be transformative, okay? So the best adjustments actually come from the right brain, supported by, but not dominated by the left. Now, there are 4 phases of a really high value adjustment, and these are all designed to keep you in that right brain dominance so you can stay there, connect with the patient, and deliver that transformative process. So let's work our way through those 4 phases of a high value adjustment. Now, again, before I get into this too, when we're thinking about PVA or retention, getting somebody through to their 12-visit re-exam, really that's something that comes from the initial consultation and the report of findings. And so if you've got patients that are dropping out before their first 12-visit re-exam, that tells me that in your new patient visit and in the report of findings, you're not building enough trust. The practice member isn't feeling seen and heard and valued. Now, if you're getting patients regularly past that 12 visits, but you're not yet up to that PVA of 50 plus, then that tells me that this is all about your adjustments. The adjustment is this is where the rubber hits the road, okay? So these 4 phases are really important. Now, the first part of our adjustment is what I refer to as the reset ritual, okay? This is all about letting go of the practice member that you've just left. It's clearing your state before you begin. Now, again, each and every one of our practice members are going to have different things going on. Some of them are going to be incredibly excited and enthused because of the wonderful results. Some of them are going to be still in early stages of their healing and in crisis. Some of them are going to have really deep family things going on. And we need to make sure that we don't carry this into the next visit. So the easiest way to do this is to start with a really good deep breath. And sometimes when those visits were particularly heavy and particularly dark, I would literally take a big deep breath in and I would imagine myself breathing out like a black smoke as well, okay? We want to let go of that patient. We want to reconnect while we're here as well, okay? So a reset ritual is essential. This is the moment that we start to, again, reconnect with that right brain presence. It allows you to not just think about the technique, but connect back into the whole experience that's about to begin. Next, we want to start to set the tone. Now, I'm all for having a predictable, safe, and easy entry into the adjustment, okay? So consistent language is something that builds safety and trust. And so as a general result, my opening to most adjustments were, great to see you, Jim. Let's get you checked. So our practice members were already lying down. So probably 9 out of 10 of them were. If they weren't comfortable lying on their tummy, then they would lie on their back. And again, there was one maybe out of 10, out of 20 of my practice members that for whatever reason just didn't like lying down. So again, we can get our practice members used to lying down by giving them the benefits of it, okay? Here's why we like you lying down beforehand. Your spine will be more relaxed. It'll be easier for Angus to feel your spine and work out where the areas of stress are. You'll be able to receive the adjustment much more effortlessly as well. It'll help you get better results in less time. So this is, again, otherwise we end up stepping into the room and with a person sitting on the adjusting table, we're much more likely to find ourselves engaging in conversation that's not as important. How are you going today? How's the weather? Those sorts of things. But when the practice member is lying face down, I can come on in and I can start off, which was, great to see you, Jim. Let's get you checked. Now, what I'm looking for as I walk in there too is I want to be able to match and then gently lead their energy levels. So once we get good at this, and particularly when we're in that right brain state, we can walk out, because I had an open adjusting area, we can walk straight into that space and we know where somebody is at. Now, this might take a bit of trust and repetition and experience, but I knew when I could go in there with full of energy and loud and bravado, and I knew when I needed to be softer. We can watch and look for cues in their breath, their body language as they're lying down there, but there's just a sense that we're aware of. We want to look for a moment to make them feel seen and heard. Now, this might be acknowledging something from a previous visit again, or it might be responding to something that they've just shared. So, we've walked into a room there and maybe the practice member's still in that crisis stage to begin with. We might want to take this moment to just stop, go up to them, get down, make eye contact, and just connect in. I'm sorry those headaches are still there. As we mentioned, this is going to take some time to get us back on track. Let's check your spine, see where the stress is today. Let's unwind this so that we can get you back to living headache-free as quickly as possible, okay? So we want to match their energy and then we can start to bring them up. Now, having some form of predictability inside of here makes it easy for the practice members when they're lying down and they know how they're going to be greeted and they know the way that the adjustment starts. It means that they're more likely to be in that parasympathetic state of their nervous system. They're not wondering what's about to enter into the room. What is your energy going to be like? What is Angus going to say? They know it. It brings a level of safety, and this is right brain for them. This is parasympathetic nervous system that allows them to be free and focus on the adjustment. So after we've set the tone there, the next thing that we want to do is we want to drop in. Now, this term here I really love, and I borrowed from the syntropy guys here, because this is all about adjusting with presence and intent. It's more of that present time consciousness as well. Here, what we want to be doing is really connecting with the bigness of what's going on. BJ used to talk about becoming one with the bone, or maybe we want to become one with the nervous system or one with the person. We want to have a good pre-adjustment check to set the focus. We want to deliver an adjustment with flow, not with rush. Again, I want to discourage you from there being any conversation when you're actually delivering the adjustment itself. Now, I was talking with my patients before the actual adjustment and after the adjustment. But if they tried to talk with me whilst I was delivering the adjustment, I'd often say to them, hey, listen, you're forgetting I'm a man. I can't multitask. If you want a great adjustment, I can't speak to you at the same time. And we would have a bit of a giggle and laugh about that. The other thing that we need here is a post-check to confirm change and give the patient certainty. I'm going to talk about more of this in a moment, okay? So we drop in, okay? We really make sure that we're connecting with the person, with the spine, with the nervous system, okay? This is where that right brain sense helps you really assess the subtle changes. It allows us to respond intuitively rather than simply running through our list of what we need to do as well, okay? The final stage of our visit through here is we want to anchor the visit. We want to close the visit in a way that lasts beyond the actual adjustment table. We want to reinforce a win or improvement from today. And it might be just something as simple as saying, wow, that neck adjusted beautifully today. That's really going to improve the nerve function down into your arms and into the cardiovascular system. I want you to take a moment today to check in with how easy it will feel to breathe and the lightness through your shoulders and through your arms. We want to connect the progress to the bigger goals. We might say this will really help you golf this weekend, okay? As the neck gets rid of the interference into the arms, it'll help your coordination and your balance there too. We might want to give one simple, clear action or reminder, which would be just as simple as make sure that you're keeping up with your neck exercises, and I'll see you on Thursday. Could be something like saying your nervous system is adapting faster and better every adjustment. I'm really excited to see where things are in the next 4 to 6 weeks. This would be an example of a future pace because it's assuming that we're still going to be working together as well. So we're anchoring the visit. We're not bringing in any new information in this stage. We're reinforcing a win. We're connecting to progress or bigger goals there. We're giving one simple clear action or reminder as well. Now, one of the questions that comes in with all of this is how long should all of this take, Angus? You've been through these 4 different phases that we talked to. We had a reset ritual that we talked to, okay? Then after the reset ritual where we let go of them, the next thing that we're actually doing is we're setting the tone. There's a greeting. Then we dropped in where we really connected with them, delivered the adjustment, and then at the end of it, we anchored the visit. Now, all of this for most practitioners and most techniques takes somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, okay? It doesn't take a long time. The truth is, most chiropractors are spending way too long on the adjustment, not because they're trying to be more thorough, but because they lack an objective system for correcting and then post-checking the subluxation, okay? Without clarity of a pre and post check, what ends up happening is we end up chasing symptoms, we end up doing too much, we end up continuing to work until the patient says that the pain is gone. The problem is this turns us into a pain management session, not a subluxation-based correction session as well. So for me, the goal of the adjustment was really simple. Locate and correct the subluxation and verify that there's change there, okay? That's why I gravitated towards techniques that gave me a really strong pre and post check. So for the vast majority of my chiropractic practice, I used Thompson. So it was really easy with the leg length, with a Deerfield check, for me, cervical syndrome check, for me to see, had I actually been able to put an input into the nervous system and was there change? That way, if a patient said to me, oh, can you check my lower back again? It still hurts. I could really confidently say, look, I've run my assessment. We've corrected that. All that needs to be done is done today. Your body has now the best chance for it to heal. Let's just give it a chance. And I could do that with integrity. I could do that with a sense of confidence and competence, okay? Now, again, we want to be able to communicate this to our practice members early on. So from the very first adjustment, I let my patients know, hey, the great news about an adjustment is they don't take a long time. You won't have to spend hours in the office. Most of our adjustments are going to take somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes. And the benefits of that will continue on for hours and eventually for weeks after each visit, okay? Now, when we do that, it frames the efficiency, it frames the benefit, not the lack, okay? And patients are going to appreciate this. We're busy, okay? And if they're coming to see you regularly, they don't want to be spending hours in your practice each and every time. A good judge often is, how much time am I spending adjusting my family? Okay, there should be no difference in the time that you spend to adjust your kids than the time that you spend when you're actually adjusting your paying clients also. So some final thoughts. The adjustment isn't just what happens on the table. It's the entire experience of that visit from the check-in to the check-out. When you combine that right brain work that we talked about with McGilchrist that he describes, the intentional flow, the 4 phases, when you have clear objective systems for knowing when your job is done, you create adjustments that are connected, that are efficient, and that are incredibly impactful, okay? They're transformative. This will drive better outcomes and stronger retention. And when you do this, you don't need to say a lot, okay? These are the things that will really help you up, okay? Last question for today, number 3. How do I move from being the technician to being the CEO of my practice? Because right now, it feels like the business is running me. Okay, this is similar in some ways to question 1 that we started off with. Now, interestingly, most chiropractors, most of us get into practice because we want to help people, okay? We imagine days full of adjusting, connecting, and seeing lives change. And I know for me, that's what it was. I wanted to help people. And in all my time of speaking to chiropractors, there's only one chiropractor that I've ever spoken to, and I asked him why he wanted to become a chiropractor. He said, I think it's a really great business model. He says, I think I can not only help change people's lives, but I can have great balance in my life and I can make a lot of money. That's one out of literally thousands of chiropractors. Most of us get into this because we want to help people. What we don't realize is that there's an entire business behind the adjusting table. And if that business isn't healthy, then neither are we, our team, or our patients. Now, just in terms of a mind shift for you here, just as you feel deeply responsible to guide your practice members' health, as the CEO of the practice, okay, it's your responsibility to guide the health of the business. So whether that's a proprietary limited or whatever structure is set up, that's your patient, that's your practice member. It needs regular checkups, it needs care, it needs strategic planning to thrive in the same way our practice members do. Now, the problem is if we find ourselves stuck in technician mode, adjusting patients, answering emails, jumping to fix staff problems, the business ends up running us and we get stuck reacting instead of leading. We need to move into leadership. So really, this is a leadership problem that we're talking about here as well, okay? The shift comes when we start to deliberately carve out somewhere, for most of us, between 1 and 3 hours per week to work on the business, not in it. Now, again, if this is new for you, then perhaps it's just somewhere in that 60 to 90 minutes. This time is dedicated to CEO responsibilities. So what are CEO responsibilities? They're vision and direction. This is about setting clear goals and keeping the business moving towards them. Okay, what is the purpose of your practice? What is the vision for it? What are your goals? Where do you want it to be? And again, if you don't have clarity around where it's going to be, everybody else is going to decide that for you. And chances are it's not going to be the destination that you want to have. The second thing is marketing and visibility, okay? We need to understand the basics of attracting and retaining quality patients, even if this is outsourced. And a lot of your marketing should absolutely be outsourced. You need to understand the financial health, okay? We need to know how to read a profit and loss statement. You need to know your break-even point. You need to be able to watch your cash flow as well. They need to have a good understanding of team and culture. This means hiring well, consistently, and maintaining an accountable and really engaged team. And then finally, there's systems and processes. We talked about this in question 1. Repeatable, documentable ways to do things so the practice can run without you having to micromanage, okay? So your baseline as a CEO doesn't mean that you need to be an expert in all of these, but you do need a minimal understanding of them so that you can make informed choices, and this will have you leading with confidence. So example, in marketing, you need to know your 3 most effective patient sources. Where are they coming from? How do you get them? And can you dial that up or dial it down if necessary? The finances, you need to know your monthly fixed costs and your break-even point. From a culture point of view, you need to know that each role has a job description and they need to have KPIs, including our CAs. Our systems, you need to know which processes are documented and where the gaps are. Now, what you might want to do from this is just choose one. Maybe you start on one each quarter. Is that marketing, finances, culture, system? They're the 4 big areas there as well. And perhaps it's about reading a book, taking a course, working your way through previous episodes inside of here. Maybe you can reach out to me with an email. I can direct you to past episodes, and this will help you upskill as well, okay? So if we're going to be the CEO of a business, then we need to make sure that we're taking care of the business, the company, in the same way as the technician, as the chiropractor, that we're going to be taking care of our practice members. All right, folks, that's it for this episode. As always, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. Your community needs you to have mastery, or at the very least competence, over all of these. I look forward to being back with you again next week. Take care. Bye. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out my Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work with you to help you apply it, implement it, and systemize it. The Community Influencer Group Coaching Program is designed to help you increase your practice income, impact, and enjoyment. Join me over at anguspyke.com/join. That's anguspyke.com/join. I'd love to see you there.